Welcome back. Here's another stats video on correlation. This one though, interpreting the correlation if we're given a score that represents it. Let's see what that's all about. Now the correlation between two variables can be represented with a number just as well as it can be represented on a graph. Now when we have a number assigned for showing the strength of correlation, we call it an R value or an R score. And an R score just means the correlation coefficient. These are fancy words that just means how strong is this correlation. Now remember from the graphs how I didn't care if my points were trending upwards or downwards on the graph? All I cared about was how close they were together. The same kind of idea applies when we have a number for correlation. I don't care if my number is positive or negative. All I'm looking for is how big that number is. Now numerically, correlation is considered to be perfect if it's either 1 or -1, and neither is better than the other. So 1 and -1 would represent perfectly placed dots on a scatter plot in a nice straight line. And as a number, as I approach 0, the correlation is getting weaker and weaker and weaker. On a graph, those will be points that are further and further and further apart. So let's look at this scale that really helps us understand what the R score means and how strong the correlation is as it approaches either 1 or -1, and how weak it is as it approaches 0. Now here are a couple of final exam questions that they might throw at you on this topic.